But that was a big step for me. And I think the reason why I'm even bringing this up is because this is about the Audacious Mamas, right? Like, what does that word even mean? Like, I just feel that's one of the things I want to work on is like my own audacity. And really shining the spotlight on people who are fucking audacious and shaking things up, because audacity, the word audacious, has multiple meanings, and the one that I resonate with is like the one that has a little bit of a negative thing. It's like doing the unexpected, right? Welcome to the Audacious Mama Show. I'm your host, Steph Roberts. Today, this is going to be a little bit different. I had something different planned for you than what I'm giving you today. And what I was originally going to give you, I will deliver very, very soon. And that is all about the things that I have going on in my business that I think can help you, can help all of us really with getting our time back and being a lot more effective, specifically online and with our content. But today is actually International Women's Day, and it was also a snow day where I live, and a whole bunch of trees were down. It was like Snowmageddon. It was pretty crazy. And I was going to do some kind of small tribute really to the women who inspire me and just, I don't know, put something up maybe on Instagram. But the day kind of got away from me, and I had to go get my kids, and I went through this. It really felt like I was in some kind of video game with like power lines down, detours, trees everywhere, and I was just really happy to finally get them from their dads and be home safe. And it was toward the end of the day, and I was seeing some of what other people had put out, which actually there was not a lot of content, not a lot of stuff, not as much as I had hoped, but I also wasn't online as much as I maybe otherwise would have been. It is now 2:35 in the morning. There's no snow tomorrow because of the messiness of our town. And I tucked my daughters into bed. My older daughter really wanted me to kind of just snuggle in with her. She's got a lot going on, and she's going on her first trip next week with her dad and her dad's girlfriend. They're going to Florida. It's very exciting, but she's got a lot on her mind, and you know, it's a transition. It's a first. So I did that, fell asleep, woke up at 1:00, did my dishes, loaded my dishwasher. It's 2:35 in the morning, and I just said, you know what? I'm just gonna make a podcast. I try not to do this too often, to be perfectly honest. I used to do this kind of thing a lot. I'm trying to get more sleep, take more, better care of myself. But I was really inspired. So here, in no particular order, or I guess in the particular order of how these people impacted me today, I guess, as I start this out, but also just, I feel blessed to have these people in my life in some capacity. And I don't personally know a couple of them, but the rest I do. So anyway, I was looking for something that one of my friends had sent me, and I saw somebody posted this question that said, and it was a woman she said, tell me who you are if you are a woman in business who is in business, started her business without the support or money of her husband, her family, without emotional support, just did it. And so I was reading that, and I was like, ooh, that is a good question, because I often wonder that too, because it seems like there aren't a lot of people out there who can truly say they started with nothing. Even though you hear those stories, in writing or whatever, I don't see that. It's not really talked about. And so this person was like, I want to see you, raise your hand. And I was reading the comments, and there weren't very many people commenting. And I thought, that's me. I have no parents. They're both deceased. There's no one funding my business other than me. And I don't have a husband. I don't have a partner. And with my kids, it's just me too. And I've truly never felt like 100% solopreneur, right? So but I hesitated. I was like, do I really want to wave my hand here? And then I went, no, of course. So I just wrote me. But that was a big step for me. And I think the reason why I'm even bringing this up is because this is about the audacious mamas, right? Like, what does that word even mean? Like, I just feel that's one of the things I want to work on is like my own audacity. And really shining the spotlight on people who are fucking audacious and shaking things up, because audacity, the word audacious has multiple meanings. And the one that I resonate with is like the one that has a little bit of a negative thing. It's like doing the unexpected, right? So I was proud of myself for just writing the word me, which sounds ridiculous and silly, but I've definitely been in a little bit of a hiding place while I focus on my business. And there's been a lot going on with my kids and my personal life. So just trying to manage it all. So that brings me to my first person who I want to pay tribute to. And she is a steady presence in my life, definitely today, but also inspired me way back 4 years ago. And she just celebrated I believe it's her 4-year anniversary of her podcast. And that is Katie Kremitzos of Biz Women Rock. So if you have not listened to her podcast, head on over there. It's Biz Women Rock. It's an amazing podcast. She does live coaching. She interviews all kinds of different women, but she has a huge community on Facebook of women entrepreneurs. And she today just said, she did a Facebook Live. It might have been yesterday actually, but she just did within the last 24 hours, a Facebook Live where she was in her car and she's like, this is it. I'm giving you a snapshot of what it looks like to be a mompreneur. And she's done many speaking gigs. She just got back from social media marketing world, and she was headed to Tampa to talk to, her local business group there, that she used to run, but she was more nervous. And she was talking about that. And the gist of it was that she was talking about her own story. That was the plan for the speech, which normally she has a topic and, is more teaching and weaving in her own experience to reinforce the talk. But the other piece of it is that she was, away. So she came home and she didn't have a babysitter. And so she and her husband were going to be, passing their toddler back and forth, her daughter. And I think that was really adding to her stress. So she's in the car going to pick up her daughter, already a little bit late, and just really feeling it. And I think she did an amazing job of capturing what it is to be a mompreneur. It's not just you've got loads of support, loads of time, and you can easily just show up like maybe you would if you were in a corporate job and they flew you somewhere and your kids are at home or whatever. This is how it works. Like, you have to figure out somebody to cover your butt. You show up and you do what needs to get done. But there's this whole before, during, and after, like, okay, so where are my kids? Are they okay? Are they safe? Are they missing me? Or, whatever. Depending on the age of your kids, depending on who they happen to be with, whatever, it can get very, very tricky. So if you have great support, that's awesome. But not everybody has it. And even people who have it don't have it every time. And Katie has great support, but she just didn't have it set up. So I just wanted to shout her out for her community, for how much she supports all of us, and for just being super transparent about so many things. So go check out Biz Women Rock. It's her podcast and online community. And I just am so grateful that I have her in my life. She's been an amazing coach for me, and she has an incredible community. So if you haven't looked at it and you are a woman in business, a mom in business, definitely go check it out. So my next person. So she was in John Lee Dumas's mastermind with me. It was called Fire Nation Elite. It no longer exists. It was around for about a year or so. And I met her there with her husband, Ed, and she had her own podcast. She's been on my podcast, interviewed, and she started a second podcast that just completely freaking took off like nothing else. And it's called Women Wanting More. She has a ton of downloads, a ton of listeners all across the world. And she is really making an impact in people's lives, in women's lives, in marriages. I've witnessed her personal growth, like multiple moves, like shutting down her chiropractic practice with her husband, them picking up and moving twice with their 2 little boys. She has 2 sons, and she's just amazing. And she's so incredibly consistent and transparent. And I just, I'm blown away by her. And frankly, sometimes I'm like, she's just way too much for me, because I'm like, how the hell does she do all this, really? So she's always been a fit person, but at the moment she's been at the moment for the last more than 18 months, she's been training as a boxer. And so I've been just watching that transformation too. And between that and her self-development and going from being somebody who's a mom in a chiropractic practice, doing essential oils on the side and training women, to kind of giving those 2 things up and going full-time into coaching women and just jumping in and really impacting people's lives with the influence of Garrett J. White, who has his own podcast, and just how that connected with her on a really deep level. And so I was thinking of her, and then when I was putting my dishes away tonight, she happened to have a Facebook Live that she did with her husband, Ed. And what I was so impressed by is, she's all about women wanting more from their lives, their families, their marriages, financially, emotionally, spiritually. And so I've seen a lot of her alone, and I've heard her talk about Ed. I've seen Ed separately. I've never seen the 2 of them together. So I was just really impressed that they were talking about how difficult it was at first for them to start doing these weekly dates that they started doing, I think, a couple years ago, and what that's been like for them and why it's important. And they talked about divorce and what that costs. And my comment was, because we make excuses about not getting babysitters and not going on dates, and we just can't afford it, or women really shortchange themselves and don't allow themselves to be away from their children or invest in themselves a lot of times. So she was talking about that, and I could totally relate to that. And we definitely did not do regular dates. I think it was very unusual to be out to dinner alone. I think maybe on my birthday. And she was talking about, it doesn't count if you're with other couples. This is the 2 of you alone, talking, connecting, keeping that flame going or reigniting it, whatever it is, to just stay connected. Even if you're best friends or you're living as roommates, that is not the same as actually going out to dinner, really seeing this person that you're with and married to, giving them the time and space to be who they are, separate from you, and connecting. So I just want to honor her for her message, for continuing down this path, and just say bravo to her also for finding her voice in such an authentic, kick-ass kind of way. I'm just so impressed with what she's done. She had another podcast. It was called, I think, Mom at 39 or Mom at 41. No, Mom at 41. I can't remember. So this is a huge departure from that. That was about, being real about what parenting takes. But this this is just so much more. And she does the podcasts pretty much daily. And it's just her. It's mostly her. I think maybe she might have interviewed one or two people in her 400 plus episodes, but go check that out. Women Wanting More is the name of her podcast. She also has, I believe she has a free Facebook group and a couple of masterminds, and she's an incredible coach. So those are the two people, Katie, Karen, and then I wanted to say the next person on my list here, and I'm just checking through my notes, is Danielle Ford. And you may already know Danielle because she is a marketer, a video maven. She's a funnel maker. She's a mom. She has a show called Leading Las Vegas. She just wrote a book, but she is freaking amazing. So she was a single mom of 2 kids. She had her kids starting very, very young. And then, I think there was some abuse there. She was married, but she left and started and just broke out, started her own career, she said multiple businesses. And we're trying to get her on the show. I've talked about having her on quite a few times, but I'm just shouting her out because her life has been kind of topsy-turvy. Her mom had brain surgery. I don't know all the details. Again, I'll have her on, but she is just in full-blown caregiver mode, taking care of her kids, taking care of her mom, taking care of her, I believe it's her niece's babies, 2 different babies that are her cousin's kids, I think, or sister's kids. That makes more sense. Sister's kids. But way above and beyond the call of duty for a family member, plus running her business. And now she's running for the school board in her district in Las Vegas. And she's a high school dropout, but very well self-educated, clearly, and smart as a whip, and just going for it to try to make some changes. And I'm just I watch what she's doing and I'm just blown away by her. So again, I just completely applaud her for her badassery. She is just 100% Danielle, authentic, always just staying in her lane, stating what she believes in, and not really letting anybody affect her. She's just a tough chick, and I just so appreciate her heart as a loyal family member, and as a mom. She's incredible all the way around. And the next person that I want to shout out, someone else, this woman, Lori Mercer, is somebody who is doing loads for women who are stuck in corporate America and doing jobs that keep them from their kids, keep them feeling stifled, or, stuck with the golden handcuffs. So she has something called How She Quits. And I think she just changed it to How She Quits and Wins. I'll have to double check that. But the gist of it is she's really helping women to leave their daily jobs that are corporate and break out and work from home so they can be with their children, have more flexibility, cut down their commute, cut down the BS, and just feel satisfied running their own businesses in any capacity. So that could be somebody doing virtual assistant work, could be consulting, project management, all kinds of tech positions, creative positions. So she's guiding them into how to start their business and make it effective and helping them launch it. And so they can become really just financially stable more quickly and leave their jobs more quickly without feeling like they have, no net. They're jumping in, off a cliff, so to speak. So she's doing amazing things. And she herself is just the most resilient woman, one of the most resilient women that I've ever met. She has a great heart, and she has 3 or 4 children. She's got a lot of kids. And her husband's a firefighter. She started this firefighting nonprofit for firefighters' marriages and helping keep their marriages strong, because that's one of the toughest professions. There's just a lot of strain on marriages in that profession. And so she's just amazing. All the different things that she's done, and she's an incredible businesswoman. So I just want to shout her out for all that she's done for me, for her community, all that she's doing in the world. Her name is Lori Mercer, and I will put her stuff in the show notes. She's doing multiple different things. And then the next person that I want to talk about is Sunny Lenarduzzi. So Sunny, actually, I know pretty much every single person on my list. I don't know Sunny personally, but I feel like I do. So I found Sunny Lenarduzzi just through happenstance a couple years back on Blab. If you guys remember the Blab platform, came out kind of around the same time Periscope did. And what was cool about it was everybody could hop in on their phones. They could contribute to like a group interview, like video interview live. And you could just hang out there. You could listen. You could, type your comments. You could put in a link. You could get pulled into the hot seat and, become a guest. It was pretty amazing. And so she was on someone's show. I have no idea who it was. And she was talking about, I think it was called Recording for Revenue. And it was her course on how to make money from Periscope and with video. And I was so taken with her. She was so professional, polished. She's adorable, but she's just smart as a whip, had so much great insight. And I was like, click. I had never bought anything from somebody that I've never heard of like that. And it was her first course, apparently. So, it's a little rough, but it was great. Like, the content was amazing. And now she's freaking Sunny Lenarduzzi. Go look her up if you've never heard of her. She's doing everything. She's kind of, creating her own mini empire, but her content is just rock solid. She delivers the most amazing content. I learn so much from her. And she's one of those people, like, if you just subscribe to her YouTube channel, you would learn so much about digital marketing, online influence, you name it. It's social media. It's incredible. And now she just launched a podcast. Woohoo! So I think it's called The Sunny Show. So go check that out. Sunny Lenarduzzi, also in my notes, because that last name, it's a little tricky to spell if you're not familiar with Sunny. But I just think she's amazing. I would love to get her on this podcast. And it would not be the same if I didn't mention her, because her name is Sunny, and she brightens my day. Every time I see her Instagram stories, every time I see her Facebook lives, her tweets, her YouTube stuff, like, she's just incredible. I'm in a couple of her courses too, because I just love her content. So go check her out. And then my next person that I want to honor is my friend Lori Geishecker. And Lori is the voice of my intro, which I sometimes use, sometimes I don't. But she's been on the show. She also does Amazon FBA consulting, and she's become an expert in that area and has just amazed me by what she's done in such a short period of time. And this is the friend that what I love about her is she's really also, like Sunny, a ray of light and so much fun to talk to. We always laugh. She's so smart. She's a brilliant businesswoman and business consultant. But she also just amazes me in that she's able to create and keep like these ironclad boundaries. She does not let people suck her into their stuff, their social media. Like, she just stays the course. So she's pretty quiet online. You wouldn't necessarily, you wouldn't know what she's doing offline, but she's a perfect example of somebody who's not you don't have to put your face out there all the time to be making waves and really building a rock solid business. And I think anybody who's had success offline already knows that. And it sounds ridiculous me saying this, but for those of us who spend way too much time online, we forget that there is a lot of business to be had on and offline, and you can be building a business without showing up on social media 24/7. And so I love her as a friend. I love her as an advisor, we've done a few things together. Hopefully in the future we'll do more. So as a, kind of a partner in crime. And we just started doing monthly Mondays to plan our months and our businesses. And I'm just loving that. I'm loving that I can see her more regularly and that I get on her calendar because, again, she's rock solid with her boundaries. So go check her out. Her name's Lori Geishecker. And Whirly Girl Lori. She has a couple of different identities online, but you're not going to find too much about her there. Not yet. She's got some stuff going on that I'm hoping I can share with you. Maybe she'll come on and share with you when she can be a little more public about it. Okay, so then the next person has also been a guest on my show, and that is Phoebe Morochek. So Phoebe, I wanted to talk about Phoebe because she is that one person who has a unique voice, and she's just never afraid to walk alone. And by that I mean she's just 100% okay saying what's uniquely hers and being an outlier and literally walking alone. Like, she travels alone. She does tons of stuff alone. She has a great community and friends and family. But I love that she is just 100% A-okay just being Phoebe. Just solo Phoebe. And she's also, even though she's able to be happy to lead the way and walk alone, she's also always happy to be there to guide people. And recently she did this amazing thing where she had people just sign up for 10 minutes with Phoebe, and she gave them 10 minutes. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to call her. And in 10 minutes, she gave me some really great feedback on what I was doing and the direction I was going. So I have two different podcasts, and I was just trying to figure out what I should do. And I had some thoughts, and I wanted to run them by her because I totally admire her. And I love her podcast. It's the Unbecoming podcast. If you want to go look that up. Sorry, I had a coughing fit there. So this next person is somebody who I met through a mompreneur meetup. Meetup.com. It was a mompreneur meetup. We actually met at a Wegmans grocery store. So the Wegmans near us had a second floor meeting area. And so we all met there. It was actually very nice. She really stood out because she started kind of just taking charge. We were waiting. She wasn't running the meeting. She was one of the people waiting and for other people to show up. And she just started arranging where the heat was blowing, turned something off, stood on a chair. I just loved it. She just was so confident, and I could see that this young woman was a leader. And I think we've known each other for almost 3 years now. We've become close friends. I don't see her as often as I'd like to, but what I love about Sarah, and she's also been a guest, so you can look through for her interview. Her name is Sarah Tegender. So Sarah has this incredible ability to be a leader in her field. She's a corporate trainer, and she's I'll just say she's in the medical field. It's complicated what she does. But so she is a trainer, and she trains on this very specific topic, very specific people. And she is also a speaker. She's an international speaker, entrepreneur. She has 2 young children. Her second is almost 1, but she managed to take him with her when she traveled. And she traveled a lot this last year. So she would either bring her mom, she would bring her husband. She found a way to bring her son with her so she could nurse and like make it all work. And her daughter is 4. Her husband is just a sweetheart and such a great partner for her. Together, I think they have probably the most legit friendship, connected partnership kind of marriage that I've ever seen close up. And she has an incredible family. She's one of, I think, gosh, I'm going to get it wrong. I'm trying to remember. I think she has 6 kids in her family. And her parents still have a very tight marriage, and her family's really tight. I met her grandparents. They're adorable. Like, she just has this amazing ability to stay connected to her family, her business, her friends. She goes out of her way to create reasons to get together. And she's also that one person who, if she knows what you're doing and believes in you, will completely just shout you out. If she's in a Facebook group or whatever and somebody's looking for somebody who can do what you can do, she is that person who will tag you and say, you know, Steph's my girl, or, you know, whatever. She's just incredible that way. And I just think she's amazing. And these are the kind of people that I feel so blessed to have in my life. And I'm going to like start crying because she's just such a love. She has sent me some amazing voice messages just out of the blue, little love notes and stuff. She's just an incredible human being. So I just want to honor her here and tell her how much she inspires me just as a human being, as a businesswoman, as a mom, as a family member. Like, just the way she is with her family inspires me. So that's Sarah Tegender. And the next person you probably do know because she is kind of everywhere. And that is Miss Bonnie Frank. Bonnie Frank is a live streaming expert. She's been on this podcast more than once. So she's a friend that I met through Periscope years ago. I talk to her all the time now. She went through a terrible breakup, and it was, her situation at home was pretty bleak. But in the midst of the craziness of that, she was able to create this amazing online business through Periscope. Like, she had an online business and wasn't making any money. She'll be the first to tell you. And then Periscope came along, started doing all these Periscopes, and her business took off, and she tripled her income, I think in the first year. And she's just phenomenal. And what I love about her is that she's super consistent, super professional in her training and her Facebook lives. She's always great at coming up with ideas and just taking action. Like, she does not let stuff get in her way, including technology. And she doesn't really love technology, but she jumps right in, and she jumps into the deep end sometimes, you know, and I really, really love that about her, especially for somebody who, you know, doesn't consider herself a techie. She has mastered a ton of stuff. And once she masters it, she's very good at also teaching it. And she's just a great business coach. She has a great community for women. So it's Bonnie L. Frank. If you want to look her up, she has Entrepreneur School on Facebook. And yeah, I just am so grateful for her friendship, for her no nonsense kind of brash way of, you know, just keeping me in check as a friend and giving me advice as, you know, a colleague, a business person. So thank you, Bonnie, for inspiring me daily. And then my next person that I want to honor is my friend Liz. So Liz Diaz is an incredible mom. She's a single mom. She is unlike any other single parent I've seen in that the way she just will never throw in the towel. She's had some pretty rough things happen in her life, and that's actually sugarcoating it. There's an interview with her on my other podcast where she talks about how she grew up with abuse in her life, as a child and then in marriages, and how she got out and then picked up, just dusted herself off, picked herself up and started again. And what she's done with her life, what she's done for her daughter, Angie, has been just incredible to see as a fellow single mom now. When her daughter was going off to theater school in New York City, Liz, was in a tough position she had an injury, she had been out of work. I mean, it was just like this it was a horrible situation, financially, physically, emotionally, all the above. And things were getting close with her daughter. She ended up just so much grit. She just figured out a way to sell stuff and get the cash she needed to make the difference to get her daughter off to school. And she has just, again, always been that person that I can look to who just never, ever, ever gives up, and also never gives up on her dreams. So there's some people who are really super gritty who are like, no nonsense. And then they think you're a dreamer if you're not doing some of the stuff they're doing. But what I love about Liz is she's this great combination of hardworking, driven, realistic, but also has left room in her heart to strive for more. And she is an entrepreneur at heart, and she has done many things with her entrepreneurial spirit, and she has multiple things on her plate right now. And she's writing a book with her daughter. Her daughter's an incredible illustrator, also an actress, and she's got a few things up her sleeve, and I'm really excited to see where all that's going to go. So I just want to shout her out here, tell her how much she means to me. She opened her house up to me last month, and I was able to visit her in Florida and go to the beach and just get away in her cute little casa, and just love spending time with her. And she kind of filled me up with her perspective on life and her optimism. So I love you, Liz. So proud to call you my friend. And then last but definitely not least, I want to say Angie Shear. She has been my friend, for a very, very long time, more than 20 years, I think now. And she is a classically trained musician. We met when we were both working at Harvard Medical School years ago. And she has traveled and toured with many famous musicians, but with her violin. She also is a pianist, and she had a trio, and they did weddings. So she's always taught children. She's done so many different things. She's an amazing entrepreneur and has always done incredibly well. She's also a visual artist. But what she did a few years ago is she just kind of scrapped the other work that she was doing with her, playing her violin and working with different, bands that she was in. And she decided to sing, and she decided to kind of create this alter ego called Jackie Highway. And Jackie Highway is this pop groove fusion, synth pop, can't even explain it, melodic, amazing sound that she came up with. And she's not she wouldn't say she was a singer really before this. I'm sure she sang backup vocals and things like that, but she just stepped right up front, grabbed the mic and started singing. And, I was able to go see her live a few times before she moved to California. And then while she was in LA, a whole bunch of crazy shit happened to her. And she's just an incredible networker, and she's an incredible human being. So the relationships, the connections, the amazing things that have unfolded since she's been there have just given me so much hope. Like some people say, it's all who you know, or, like law of attraction people are like, nah, like that's the people who don't believe in that stuff are like, you know what? When I see her life, what she's done, where her mindset, her belief system, where she's put herself, what she's deflected with her own beliefs and her daily practices, she just blows me away. And so here's the kicker. So I don't even want to say her age, but she literally looks 23. I think she gets carded constantly, but she's approaching 50, and she got signed by Yoko Ono's label, and she is now, as we speak, in London touring with, maybe touring's not the right word. She is there to receive with the filmmaker who made her latest music video an award at a film festival. At least that's my understanding of what's going on. But she's had so many amazing things happen in her career. She is now working for for a local orchestra in California. I'm going to forget the name of the orchestra. This is what happens when you record your podcast. It is now 3:19 a.m., folks. I am going to put this in the show notes, and I will pause for a second because I feel like I should say Santa Monica, the Santa Monica Orchestra, and the way that all unfolded and how she ended up in that position is just incredible. So I love her. She is like, we're soul sisters for sure. Like I get on the phone with her. The way that we connect is incredible. I cannot wait to see her in person again. It's been a long time. She's had an incredible year of just full to the gills scheduled events with all the various things she's doing, but it's all good. And she is just that one true blue friend. We have another friend who's battling cancer, and she is just completely there for her. And she's had her own physical stuff with like hip and back issues and things, and she blows me away. She just blows me away with her ability to just keep this amazingly buoyant, positive perspective. But she's also kind of a no bullshit person. And can be very forceful and strong about things. And I just love that about her. So much charisma. So those are the people. There are many more people I could say, but come on, you guys don't want to hear all of it. So those are the ladies that I wanted to honor on International Women's Day. Technically, I started this before it stopped being International Women's Day. So I feel like I got it in under the wire, hoping I can get this out with a quick turnaround so that you guys can hear this and be just as inspired as I am. So hopefully this meant something to you, and you found some people here that you are new to you that you can go follow and also be inspired by, and maybe even get some coaching from some of them. Some of them are coaches. Go check them out. And again, all of this will be in the show notes. If you're listening on the iTunes or one of the podcast players, you should be able to go to the info section and see the links in the show notes and just click right from your phone. Kind of depends on which one you're using, but go try that. Check it out. And thanks for listening. As always, if this was valuable to you, please do share it. Go rate, review, subscribe. There's going to be more. I've got some announcements coming up. I have a series of really cool how-tos that I will be doing. That'll be much shorter than this episode, but will give you some really great hands-on info that you can put to work immediately to help you with your content. So it's going to be really strongly content driven, and I'm excited about it. So stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, have a fantastic day, and shout out to all the amazing women listening to this. I honor you for all you've done. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for showing up. And I hope that this is a stellar year for you, for all of us. I'm so inspired by what's happening in the world with women stepping up, stepping forward, being leaders, and really speaking their truth. And I've also got a lot more to say about that. But ladies, our time is now. All right. Good night. Good night. Good night. Have a good one.